Coming up on this episode of One-on-One Sports.
Miami has some trouble in paradise, and another former catcher gets his first shot as a big league manager.
Plus, our NBA experts overreact to the first week of the season, and we take our first crack at what promises to be a wild MLB offseason.
All that and so much more, and it all starts right now.
Hello and welcome to One-on-One Sports. I'm Jake Sotir.
And I'm Ryan Balick. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers almost won a game, but then they lost. Here are your starting five.
Richie Incognito is no longer a Miami Dolphin and may never have a job in the NFL again. The Finns reportedly cut ties with a 9-year vet for conduct detrimental to the team after an expletive-laden and racially charged voicemail was leaked in which he berated rookie Jonathan Martin, threatening his family and Martin himself. We see rookie hazing all the time in the NFL, but this incident, a line was clearly crossed. Ryan, do you think this is an issue only on the Dolphins right now, or is it a widespread problem that just nobody talks about?
Boy, I sure hope this is only with the Dolphins. This is a crazy story. This has escalated so fast. I feel like it kind of started off as a funny story. I mean, we talked about it on our radio show, just a guy going AWOL. It was a little
nobody knew what
weird,
happened.
but now it's just the whole bullying. This is so childish. I feel like I'm in a kindergarten class. These guys can't control each other's other emotions. They got to go off and send all these mean things. I really hope this is not happening around the league.
You said I really hope so too, because I would like to think that if it was happening more often, we would hear about it more often because people would speak out about it in the locker room.
Nobody even heard about this.
It's not okay. This is a professional environment. These are grown men. There's a difference between hazing and harassment in the workplace. This is harassment in the workplace. Richie Incognito is a bad person for doing this.
I'm glad you mentioned hazing, because there is hazing that goes on in the NFL with rookies, but this is really crossing the line. This is just taking it to a whole nother level. It's disgusting. Well, Jake's Red Sox did it. Yippee. One season removed from finishing last in the AL East, the Boston Red Sox beat the Cardinals in 6 games behind David Ortiz hitting .688, including some of the clutchest postseason hits in the postseason. Jake, oh boy, can you think of a better worst to first story in sports history?
Yeah, about boom! No, there isn't one. There isn't a better worst to first story in history, because never has a team gone through everything that not only this team went through with the season last year, being in worst place in the division, what the city went through with the Boston Marathon tragedy this year, to come back and win it all the following season, just like that, the complete turnaround. It hasn't happened before like this, and that's what makes it so special.
Not to take anything away from what the Red Sox did, but they were hurt a lot last year, and the manager obviously was a big issue. But they still had a lot of talented players. Like all those pitchers were there. A lot of those hitters that made big impacts in the postseason were there last year. Very impressive. But another story I wanted to mention: Tampa Bay Rays going into 2008. Never had a winning season in their entire franchise's history, and had only finished out of last place once, and that was 4 years before in 2004. And they made it all the way to the World Series. B.J. Upton had that crazy postseason. Another really cool story. Unfortunately, it was worst to second, not worst to first, but it was still pretty.
Well, I wasn't too happy in that 2008 season because they did beat the Sox in the ALCS. But for my money, I think this season is as good as it's ever gotten. Even after their season was cut short in the ALCS, it seems that the Detroit Tigers were paying close attention to the St. Louis Cardinals, and Mike Matheny in particular. The Tigers took a page out of the Cardinals' book and hired a recently retired former catcher of their own to replace longtime manager Jim Leland. Brad Ausmus will take over as the Tigers skipper next season, and he joins Matheny, Joe Girardi, and Mike Scioscia, among others, as former catchers turned managers. In the NBA, Jason Kidd's making his head coaching debut after his 18-year playing career ended last season. Ryan, which coach, Ausmus or Kidd, is going to have the better first year?
Well, in my opinion, it's going to be Brad Ausmus. And the reason I say that is because of the situation Jason Kidd is put in. Like, Jason Kidd is not walking into an easy situation.
Nope.
He's got a very, very talented team. But if Jason Kidd doesn't live up to NBA Finals expectations, his season is going to be looked at as a failure. And next year, those guys are going to be gone, and his team is going to stink. So I think Brad Ausmus, I mean, he's got a money situation. Yep. The team is loaded. So I think Ausmus will have more success.
Yeah, Jason Kidd's got a very, very small window to win in. And I love catchers turning into managers. Catchers are typically very good game situational managers, and that's what makes them translate so well to the actual manager position. I think Jason Kidd has an advantage because he was a point guard, and that's what will make him successful.
I think for a younger person, like for someone just starting off as a coach, going from a player to a coach, I think being that point guard that Jason Kidd was, I think he's going to be in the right position to step into a coach. Still going to be difficult, but you're right. Brad Ausmus, the catchers, is also a good position to be a manager. Last week, Jake and I discussed how soon Russell Westbrook should return to the court following his knee injury. Apparently, Russell neglected to listen to us and decided to return to the Oklahoma City Thunder 5 weeks before he was projected to. Russell put up 21 points in his debut and didn't show any signs of being slowed down by the injury. Jake, do you think it was smart for him to come back, or should he have waited a little longer?
Do I think it was smart? No, I don't. He was cleared by doctors, though, so technically he was able to go play in game action, and the competitor that he is, he wanted to do that. But was it smart of him? Absolutely not. They gave him five more weeks until he was supposedly healthy enough to compete at the level that he was competing at. He's going to get hurt again.
If he came back in 5 weeks, I was going to be impressed. Yep. But for him to come back with the second game of the season and already come back this early, I just think it's crazy. I just think it's unnecessary, honestly. The Thunder are a very good team, and Kevin Durant can carry this team. And Reggie Jackson is not that incapable of a point guard. I think you pair the two together, and you'd be okay. But to rush Westbrook back this soon, it's risky.
I agree with you. I just think that he might think the Thunder can't do it without him, and he wanted to get back and help his team as soon as possible. Andrew Wiggins. Learn that name. You'll be hearing it a lot coming up this college basketball season, and you'll also likely hear his name in the same sentence as LeBron James, as many are touting the youngster as the next coming of the king himself. Only one problem. Wiggins hasn't played a single minute of a regular season game in college yet. Many college players, like projected top 3 pick Marcus Smart, have taken exception to all the praise given to Wiggins. Smart wants to know, quote, how can you be the best player in something you haven't even played yet? So Ryan, how can you, and can he?
Marcus Smart. I like what you have to say, Mr. Smart. I've been saying this since Andrew Wiggins. Everybody's been going crazy. Let's lose every game so we get Andrew Wiggins. I'm not so sure this guy is going to be the #1 pick. For one, Andrew Wiggins really hasn't proved that much to me. The guy is very skinny. He doesn't have a huge body. He can dunk. He can jump out of the gym. But the guy really can't shoot. He doesn't have a great perimeter shot, just like you mentioned LeBron James. But this draft class coming up is loaded. You got the Harrison twins. You got Aaron Gordon, Jabari Parker, Julius Randle, Marcus Smart. This is a freakish draft class that any of those guys could note #1. Andrew Wiggins, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think in a draft class, maybe like LeBron's draft class, he probably could have gone #1. But you're right, with the amount of talent, you're talking 1 through 15 could be franchise players in the NBA in this upcoming draft. That's how good it is. So when you're talking about Andrew Wiggins, let's at least see him play one game, and maybe then like 30 more before we decide something like this.
I know this is bold, and everybody's on Andrew Wiggins, but I honestly would not be surprised if this guy drops out of the top 5, maybe in the top 10.
I mean, we'll definitely see, but Kansas has a lot to prove, and so does he. That's all the time we have right now, but coming up, Ryan sits down with our NBA experts to overreact to the first week of the season. Stay tuned.